Okay. So last time, what we talked about is arithmetic sequence that follows this formula. AN equals A1 plus DN minus 1. That's the formula for arithmetic sequence. And an arithmetic sequence, if you remember, is adding and subtracting. Today, just kind of like in the second 7.1, we first talked about the patterns, then we talked about adding them all together. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to do the patterns, and then we're going to talk about summing them or adding them all together. So the notation will be the same from 7.1 as it is in this one. So you're going to have this weird little e. You'll have whatever your equation is, A1 plus D n minus 1. And then you have n probably starting equal to 1. And then your top value is going to be some n point. We'll just put, let's say 10, for example. So it's the same process, though. It's the same thing. Top is the last. Bottom's in the beginning. And this is your formula. So we're going to do one example. I'm going to call it the long way or the expected way. It's just straight up adding. So let's do that. 2 plus 3 n minus 1 as n equals 1 to 6. So we're going to do this one on the right.
Wait, I don't understand like that whole purple part.
The purple part is just like a generic version where the weird E-shaped thing means to sum or to add it up. The bottom of it right here is going to tell you where you start at 1. And the top here is going to tell you where you end at 10 in this case. Okay?
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. So in order,
is that just another way to write what's in the black right above it?
no, this would be to write, give me the sum of this equation between the terms of 1 through 10. So instead of writing like a whole sentence.
Like later, we're gonna learn like other formulas with it.
We're gonna learn basically the formula to get the answer without having to find each one. Well, let's just find each one first so we have a baseline, and then we'll talk about the formula.
Okay.
So in order to sum this, we do need every piece. So we need A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and A6. So we start here and we go to here. So I start at 1 and at 6. Now remember, this D value is your pattern. So I could do a little shortcut after I find the first one. So let me find the first one. Or actually, I also already know what my first one is. This is A1. So A1 has to be 2. And since D is the pattern over here, I can use the pattern to my advantage. Since this is a positive 3, I could do plus 3, which gets me my next.
Just did, Mr. Tobal.
Say it again.
Why do you have a 2 there? Aren't you supposed to do like 2 plus 2 and then like 1 minus 1 or something?
So let's say if I plugged it in. So let me just plug it in here in this like purple. So 2 plus 3, I'm going to replace the n with a 1. So 1 minus 1. What ends up is 2 plus 3 times 0. So that's going to give me 2 because this crosses out, right? But what I'm showing you is that in this equation itself, we already know what A1 is. We get that for free, which is this number right here. 2. And then we also get something else for free. We also get the pattern because the D is the pattern. So since it's a positive 3, that means I add 3. Now, in case, let's say you're on the test and you don't know, you forget about that, you could always just plug it in the long way. So 2 plus 3. I'm going to plug in 2 this time. So 2 minus 1. So that's 2 plus 3 times 1. 3 times 1 is 3. So this is 5. You'll see I still get the same result. So basically, the most long way would be just find each piece by using the formula every time. But what I'm trying to teach you is that we can shortcut a lot of different ways. So 2, 5, 8, plus 3 is 11, plus 3 is 14, and plus 3 is 17. So I'm just putting them all down there. But you could have found that yourselves by doing plus 3 each time, or by plugging in 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6. Since this weird E shape is called epsilon, since this epsilon means to add together, we're going to add them together. 2 plus 5 plus 8 plus 11 plus 14 plus 17. And again, you could just use a calculator in this part, but let me see. 19, 30, 40, 57. Use a calculator or whatever, but you're just going to get 57. I'll leave that up there. But just to point out, it's kind of like actually a process, right? You have to find each number, then you have to add each number. And if you don't remember to use the shortcuts, you're going to have to use the equation 6 times over. So it's quite arduous. So we need a faster way to do this. Anyone still needs his up? I'm about to go to the next page.
I'm good.
Good. All right.
Yeah, I got it.
Good, good, good. All right. So this is going to be the sum. I'll type it out actually. This equation is the sum of a arithmetic sequence. Series, my bad. Series and sequence. The series means you're adding them together. So. And so instead of that weird E, we're just going to use a normal S. So capital S to the N. So sub N, a little N on the bottom, is going to equal A1 plus AN divided by 2, all multiplied by N. And in actuality, you could move that little N in front, actually. Can I just grab the N? I guess you could put the N in front. Doesn't really matter. I'll put the N in front. That's more proper. So N times A1 plus AN over 2. Does anyone know what this kind of looks like? A1
What's
plus
that
AN.
S mean?
S means sum, S-U-M.
I thought the like E means sum.
They do both mean sum. But this is kind of more saying the sum of all this equation between these two terms, and this is just the sum at this nth place. And this is the formula for the sum of this nth place. This is an equal sign. So the other one is kind of like what we call operation. It's something I'm doing to this equation. This is just a formula, okay?
So what does the S tell me to do?
The S just means, if I told you like S of 6 equals 57, what that says to you is that the first 6 terms, so 1, 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, of course it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's like whatever the number is, end up giving you 57. So that's what it's telling you. From first to 6 terms adds up to 57. Should technically write it like this. N of 1 plus N of 2 plus N of 3 plus N of 4 plus, now let's keep going. And this right here, if you notice A1 and AN, you're adding it, then dividing by how much you're adding by, or how many numbers you're adding together. That's just the average. So basically what we do is take the average of our biggest to smallest, and then divide it by 2, and then multiply it by n.
You take the average of what?
Your smallest value and your biggest value. So this would be your smallest value or your first value. And this would be your biggest, largest, whatever, value or your final value. So that's why they're kind of similar.
Divided by 2.
Divided by 2, and don't forget to times it by n. So how many numbers you have. And we're going to show the example with the one we just did. So I'm just going to copy. I'm sorry, I'm going to go right back to it. I'm just going to copy the answer. I'm going to copy some of this information. Actually, I don't need to. 2 and 17. So if your equation, we're going to use the same equation as we had before. So 2 plus 3 n minus 1. This is your equation. Now I tell you, please give me the S of 6. So give me the sum of the first 6 terms. So this is what I'm asking you. Here's your actual question. So I'm going to need the S of 6 equals this n over here replaces all the n's inside. So if this is 6, then it's going to be 6 times my A1 plus my A6 all over 2. So these
where
numbers
that
should
6 come
always
from?
match.
Can you repeat that again a little slower? Sorry.
Sure.
It's 2 plus 3, but then you got 6.
Well, explain to me how you got the n, like what you did with the 6. Just explain that. I just got a little
Okay,
confused with that.
so this is just part of the question. Like this is what you're going to be handed in terms of your question. Now, where did I get the 6 compared to the 2 and the 3? So if in the question I hand you, give me S of 6, give me the sum of the first 6 terms. That's what it's saying. And you're very smart and you studied, you know this equation is S of n. So every n is going to get replaced with a 6. This n gets replaced with a 6. And this n gets replaced with a 6.
But what about the 2 plus 3? Like that goes away? Like that disappears? Like
No, we're still going to take some information for it. First off, the first free information we get, we need A of 1. But wait a second, we got a huge benefit. I already have the A of 1 in the original equation. So I can replace that automatically with 2. Because that's part of the equation. Now my issue is I don't have a of 6. I don't have it. I mean, I have it from the previous question, but let's say we're doing this fresh. I don't have that. So what I'm going to have to do is actually find a of 6, which means I'm going to have to plug in 6 to here. 2 plus 3 times 6 minus 1. 2 plus 3 times 5. That's 2 plus 15, which results in 17. So you're going to have to find your pieces. Here's 2, and here is 17. Over here.
Wait, how did you get the 5?
6 minus 1 is 5. Unless you're talking about this, that's an S.
No.
All right, just making sure. It's not the first time my S's got thought was a 5 and vice versa.
Wait, I have a question for you, Mr. Tobal. So
I'm right
if
here.
it were to say S5, does S5 mean that it's gonna be S5 equals 5 and then continuing with the next, all those stuff?
If I gave you like S5, like that,
Yeah, it's gonna
so
be
that means N equals 5. So you're gonna have to find A5. You're gonna have to put a 5 here. So
Yeah.
all the 6s here will be 5s, basically. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
All right. So 6, 2 plus 17 is 19 divided by 2. Make this a little easier. I'm going to convert this to a fraction. Again, you could use a calculator. You could just do the math through the calculator. Reduce this by 1. Reduce this by 3. 3 times 19. No surprise, should be 57. As you write this down, I'm sure one of the concerns is, Mr. Tobal, it was a lot easier just to find 6 numbers and then add it together. You're right. But what if I said S of 20? Well, now it's not easy to get 20 numbers. And then you want to use this kind of formula. So that's why the formula is important. When you have a bigger gap of numbers, you're going to need this formula to help you add those quickly. We'll do a couple of examples.
Wait,
We'll call it.
Mr. Tamal,
Yes.
I just have a question. Do you know, I'm obviously no. When's the next test?
I'm happy to post it when we're right after. I can tell you what I have it planned for right now.
Like, it's not this week, correct?
It can't be this week.
Okay,
Or
yeah.
I would definitely not put it this week. For you guys, I have it for the 26th, but I don't know what kind of yomes are going to occur and what days we're going to miss. So you could expect it in, what is that? 1, 2, is that 3 weeks from now?
The
Yeah, I guess.
yoms are this week.
Or this week, right? So I know the 15th, we're going to probably miss most of our classes, if not all of them. Yeah, so I'll say the 26th is probably the earliest. Okay, so that's 2 weeks from now.
We have a test on the 26th.
The earliest. It might be a little later, and I'll post it when it's ready, when I know the date. Okay. All right, let's do some examples.
Wait, oh, joking. Never mind. I don't know a question.
Okay. I'll rewrite the equation just for us. S of n equals n times s, or that's a1 plus an over 2. So let's say I have an equation like the pattern is a and 5 plus 2 n minus 1.
Do you guys see it? Because I don't see it. It's still showing me like the first slide.
I see it.
Refresh, maybe, Mariah. Your internet might be a little slow. And then s of, let's say, 10. So we have a little harder of a number. So everyone should be finding s of 10. I'll just flash back and forth in that house.
Mr. Towat, all it
Yes.
shows me is literally equals 57, like the whole problem. And now you slide up, and now it's showing me the same thing.
Let me see. How about now?
Now loading. Perfect.
Okay. Just tell me, is it still now?
It's still now. It's loading though. It's like writing down.
I still have no idea what to do here.
So if you know your S is 10, that means your N's are 10s. So look at what you're going to need to find. You need N, A of 1, and A of 10. One of these numbers, Nahan, is A of 1. Use the correct one of those two. Or even if you don't know which one's A of 1, you literally could just plug in 1 in here and you'll find it. So like, let's say you don't even know that, you could just plug it in and find it. Is there anything else? All right. Haley, what did you put for N?
10.
Good. Nate, what did you put for A1? Nate, what do you put for A1?
5.
5, good. Eliana, do you have A10?
I didn't do it yet.
All right, let's do it together. A10 equals 5 plus 2 times 10 minus 1. 5 plus 2 times 9. That's 5 plus 18, which is 23. So A10 is 23. Now I have all the actors. I could just plug them in. And then afterwards, I could literally just type it in the calculator if I really wanted to. You have to make sure your parentheses are pretty good if you do it all at once. I would never recommend doing it all at once. Do one at a time. So 10 times my A1, which is 5, plus my AN, or my A10 in this case, which is 23, all over 2. This is 28 over 2 times 10. That's 14 times 10, which should result into 140. So your final answer here should be 140. Excuse me.
Hold on, it's all loading for me.
Try to load it up. If not, I'll post the recording later. All right. Everyone try this again. Same equation, but this time I'm going to give you the numbers a little differently. -3, comma 1, comma 5, comma 9, dot, 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 comma 33. Actually, there shouldn't be commas. It should go plus sign. It's my fault. Plus 1, plus 5, plus 9, plus 33. Just remember, the only actors you need is N, A1, and AN. Oh, yeah, find the sum of this, yeah. So I'm not telling you what S of that is. Actually, you know what? Let me just show you this, because if this is going to be on your homework, I want to make sure you do it correctly. All right. So, you know what's actually really nice here is I actually already know what my A1 is. It's going to be my first term no matter what. So I get my first term for a freebie, which is -3. I actually also know what my last term is, the term I'm ending with. Simply 33. Why is it not green? Simply 33. So the real question this time is what the heck my N is. So we got this situation where we need to find what the N value is. So we're going to have to go to our trusty formula. AN equals A1 plus DN minus 1. Now, why would I need that for N? Well, I don't know what my N value is. I don't know it. But I know my last term I get to is 33. I know the starting term I get to is -3, the A1 and the AN. And there's one thing I could find with the formula given is the D value. What color am I going to use? Blue in this section. The D value. Nahem, what is the D in the equation? Is our what?
Your D?
The D, yeah.
I have no idea, honestly.
Fair enough. Let's see this here.
The pattern.
Good, Sheva, the pattern. So we can look at the, why did it turn green? You could look at the pattern here. And what is the pattern we see? It seems like it's a +4, a +4. If you couldn't see it from the negative, now you can check it as +4. So the pattern here is +4. So this D is going to become the pattern, which is a +4.
D always equals the pattern.
D is the pattern, yes. In an arithmetic function, which is a pattern of adding and subtracting. Wait a second. This right here is just an algebra problem we could all handle. I would distribute the 4 first. So I get 33 equals -3 plus 4n minus 4. Combine some like terms. 33 equals -7 plus 4n. Now that I combined the like terms, I could start getting my n by itself. So I'm going to add 7 on both sides. 40 equals 4n. And then I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides. So 10 equals n. So what does that mean? I did all that work to figure out that this number right here is in the 10th position. So that means n equals 10. Now, this is where I like to ironically say, now we could start the problem. Or we could use our the equation that we need to use to find the sum. Sn equals n, a plus 1. Let me bring it down here.
Oh, what is S? Oh, S doesn't matter. You just write S. I got you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It just means sum, but S doesn't
You just-
matter. I'm just telling you what you're doing. So my S of 10 equals 10 -3 plus 33 all over 2. 10. 30. -3 plus 33 is 30. Divided by 2. 10 is 15. So this ends up being 150. Okay. I'm happy to stay for questions, but I don't want to hold you guys forcibly over. I'm not going to post homework today because I want to teach one more thing with arithmetic, so I'll save that for tomorrow. I don't think anyone here will be taking APs, but if you are, just tell me so I can set that up for you. Otherwise, I want everyone to have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
No problem. Type here for your attendance.
Have a good day.
You too, and have a
Thank you very
wonderful day.
much, Mr. Jabal. Is it okay if we talk tomorrow instead of right now?
Yeah, no problem, man.
Alrighty. Have a great day.
You too.
I'm just finishing to copy the notes.
No rush. I don't want you to rush.